Hi, I'm Emma, 47. I've been diagnosed with a grade 4 astrocytoma. That was in April of last year. I have 2 children, busy, happily married with a busy working life. So it came as a bit of a shock when I was diagnosed. First heard about the IOZK through a friend of a friend. I'd started looking into research. I knew what the plan was in terms of the NHS, and I wanted to look to see what else I could do. So thankfully, a friend of a friend was in a similar situation. I reached out to them and they gave me a lot of information, which was really helpful in terms of the clinic and next steps. I've never been ill really before, so going to a clinic in Germany, I had lots of questions, as you would expect. I think one of the first things was, would the treatment be painful? And then I also had lots of practical questions, such as how to get here, how long would the treatment take each day, how long would it be in Germany for. Obviously, with living in the UK, I had children that needed looking after, so I wanted to be able to factor in some considerations in terms of what the impact would be on the home life, as well as the treatment for myself. We got in touch with the clinic fairly early on into my chemo cycle. I was considering a lot of options and I knew that it would cost a lot to get here. And at the time I hadn't told the children about, they knew that I had a grade 4 brain tumour, but they didn't know the prognosis. So one of the biggest decisions for me was telling them, and in order to set up fundraising. Once we got to an amount that I was comfortable with, then I got in touch with the clinic again. I think we'd got to about £80,000. Then I reached out to the clinic and just said, how quickly can I be seen? I could be seen effectively within days. So it was more down to me and my readiness to go to the clinic, as opposed to them having the slots available for me. So when I came to the clinic to start with, I was understandably a bit apprehensive because I hadn't had a lot of information before I came. But literally, as soon as I got to the reception, they were like, "You must be Emma." I was like, I'm so not used to that. Been in the NHS, it's like, what's your name, what's your date of birth? And it's very, and I appreciate that's with good reason, but it was so different and I felt really welcomed straight away. And then just from the nurses to the doctors, they're just amazing. Really friendly, really supportive, and you can see in the team that they enjoy doing what they're doing. They're smiling, they're laughing, they're friendly. So it's a real joy to come here. Yeah, I appreciate I'm having treatment, but it's a nice experience. I've never been to Germany before, so one of the things we just wanted to work through was, 1, was I able to fly? And 2, what were the other alternatives in terms of getting to the clinic? So I've done both now. Our first trip, we took the ferry. I'd just finished my chemo cycle at the time, so I was a bit paranoid about germs, so that's why we decided to take the ferry from Hull to Rotterdam, just so that we could be in our own cabin. Second time round, I was still finishing my chemo cycle, but we decided to go via an aeroplane, so we went from Stansted to Cologne. The flight was only an hour. I wore a mask and I felt really relaxed. So I tried both options. Both have got the pros and cons, but it was fairly easy to get here, which was a big relief for us. We did look into travel insurance. Because we are travelling for medical purposes, we were unable to get travel insurance. So I've just tried to be as sensible as I can in terms of avoiding busy places before and during the travel, and recognising that actually we are travelling to a clinic and that the risks are low. So when we drove, husband's very detailed focused and planned the route out for us, which was great. One of the things that took us by surprise was the emission sticker that we have, people have in Cologne, and it's a green sticker that you see on people's dashboard. There's only one place that you can get it if you're travelling from the UK, and that's in the centre of Cologne, and I can share those details separately. It only costs €6, but you do need it in order to park, otherwise you'll get fined. So it's just a watch out for anybody travelling. You can also look in advance as well. We didn't know that at the time, but for anybody that can be a bit more organised than us, you can research it online and get your sticker sent to you. So the clinic's been really flexible. The times start from 8 and finish at 7 p.m. and can be anywhere in between. We found this time we've been able to travel a day later because the appointment's been later in the afternoon, so we've been able to travel on my day of treatment and have the treatment later in the afternoon, which has been great. So they can take into those considerations as well. I know some, particularly because it's January at the moment and there's been some storms, that other people have had the same or complex travel issues with the weather, and the clinic have been really flexible in terms of changing their appointment times. The treatment's been fine so far. Bear in mind as well that I finished my chemo 2 days ago, so I'm generally a little bit more tired, but we've been out, we've been to see the city, we've done a lot of walking. There are trams available, but I'm not using the trams at the moment, again just because I want to stay out in the fresh air and avoid germs if I can. But we've got an Airbnb 10 minutes away from the clinic. There's loads of options in terms of whether you want a hotel or an apartment. I've chosen an apartment because my appetite's not been as good as usual, so it just gives us the flexibility to cook it when we get back. I think one of the things that I found really reassuring when I got to the clinic is that everything I'd read about in the UK or that I'd researched that wasn't on offer on the NHS was offered to me at the clinic. So things like high dose vitamin C, I'd looked into it, I wasn't sure what quantities to have, and I'm getting that every day at the clinic. Likewise with the Newcastle virus and the other treatments. So it really, even worming tablets. So I'd read again, I was getting some over-the-counter treatment in the supermarket, but actually to be given the right dose here and know that it's effective really put me at ease and made me feel better as well. I've take a lot of supplements. I'm just of the mindset that it can't do any harm and hopefully it will do some good. Thankfully, because I've been at the clinic, there's quite a few that I've stopped taking because it's in a different format within the clinic, like the curcumin, turmeric. But yeah, no, the clinic have been supportive of some of the other things I'm doing as well, like CBD oil. So I think the general view is that at this stage for me anything can help, and they're aware of that. One piece of advice, I just think information is key. So find out exactly what you can and make your decision based on what the clinic can give you. I found it really easy to get an appointment with them over Zoom. It was just 15-20 minutes, but it answered all of my concerns. And then you've got the information and you can choose for yourself. You know, it's a huge amount of money, but for me, in the absence of any other options, it's absolutely worth it. So this is my second visit to the clinic now. I was worried about the treatment being painful. It's absolutely not. It takes about 2 hours in total. Lots of things happen at the same time, but I'd describe the treatment effectively as lying on a waterbed with hot water treatment on your head, and then while that's happening for a couple of hours or even less now, you have lots of treatments at the same time, but none of them are particularly intrusive. I think the worst thing is having the needle, but they are so gentle in terms of inserting the needle that you don't generally know that it's happening. Yeah, my fears were put to one side straight away once I had my first treatment. The electrohypothermia bed, I had no idea what to expect. Effectively, it's a water bed. You lie down for 50 minutes. It's warm, and then you have another type of, I can only describe it as a hot water bottle, but it's not. It's a mechanism that's near to your head that's warm, and it's actually really nice. It sounds really odd, but it doesn't hurt at all. You've got a nice soft pillow, and yeah, you lay there while everything happens to you, so it's actually quite a nice experience. When you go onto the bed, it is quite a small room that you're in. You're in the room by yourself. My husband comes in with me, but I know some people go for a coffee while other people have the treatment. I do lie on the bed. I have to lie on my left-hand side because the tumour's on the right. So I lie on my side and then everything gets done on my right-hand side in terms of having my bloods taken off me and put back in me again as well. People are in and out of the room when they change the different IV drips, but it all happens. You don't really know it's happening, to be honest, because I know when I speak to a lot of people, they just have a 50-minute nap, which is lovely for them. I like to be a bit more in control and like to know what's going on, so I generally ask them questions. The nurses take out my IV drip.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow. Well done. I get quite low blood pressure, so it takes me a couple of minutes to get up and get off the bed. It's a lovely waiting area. Some people just leave straight away. I like to just sit down, have a drink of water and some fruit, and then head back to the apartment and see Cologne or nap. That's really bad. Head back to the apartment. I generally like to have a little nap after my treatment, depending on what time of day it is, and then we'll go out for a walk and see the sights. We've been debating whether to go for treatment for a while, just because it's a big decision. It meant telling the children about my prognosis, which was 12 to 18 months, which was a big deal. But once we've made the decision, our friends really stepped up and helped us with fundraising. So we chose to go with the Brains Trust. We felt that by using them, that it would give some credibility in terms of the fundraising that we're doing, and make sure that we spent it on the right things, and that people had the reassurance that we would be spending it purely for my treatments. That was quite a big decision for us. They've been really helpful in terms of fundraising ideas and help just setting up the right bank account for us, and making sure that the funds are directed directly towards me. So we started fundraising about 6 weeks ago, and we were amazed that we've already raised £140,000 now. I've had very little involvement, and I can only say a massive thank you to my friends and family who have stepped up, who have come up with the ideas to fundraise, who have got the messages out there on social media. They've done a fantastic job, and I haven't seen half of what they've done behind the scenes, but I would say, and they call themselves Emma's Army, they have been an absolute army. The way that they've, one friend's in charge of comms and media, another friend's in charge of marketing, two are keen on finance. It's the background, not the keen on finance. That is their job. So they've all come together and done an absolutely fantastic job fundraising and got the messages out there really quickly. So we've done a number of different events. Again, all I've had to do is turn up, but a 12-hour Zumbathon. My friend's a Zumba teacher, and they've raised £7,500 through doing that. The company that I work for, Nestle, have been fantastic in terms of they're doing a sponsored walk, a 25-mile walk next week. Everybody just pays £10 to join, but then gets sponsored. My daughter's friend Anna has baked brownies and raised over £300, gluten-free brownies, so she's done fantastic. And then just friends doing raffles, raising £400 at a time, which is huge. But everybody, I think once I've made the decision to do the fundraising, everybody was so relieved that they could help in some way, because you are in a pretty helpless situation, and they just wanted something to do, and by God did they do it. So we're absolutely overwhelmed with all the support that we've had and continue to receive as well. Because I'm a mum, and I've got the kids on the picture, and it wasn't a conscious decision really, and Dan wasn't in the picture. No offence, Dan. I think a lot of mums just resonate with it, thinking, that could be me.
You get a lot of messages when you in the thing. You put a little message if you want. A lot of it's one mum to another. Yeah.
I know. It does. I cry regularly because, and I always say to the kids, it's because people are so kind. Like, I'm not upset because of my situation. I get upset when people are so kind, because it's lovely. And the girls, that will be one thing that they will remember, is that, how kind everyone was. Right? I said, as soon as I talk about the kids, I get upset. Because they've seen that, they've witnessed it firsthand, how amazing everyone has been.
The generosity of strangers will never not blow my mind.
Yeah. No, absolutely. That's something I can leave the kids with, is that. Yeah.
Is there anything that, I suppose, are the things that you didn't ask, but maybe now you go, that would have been a good question to have asked?
I think for me, I would have just liked to have known more about the treatment. I was quite relaxed about it because, as I say, with the tumour that I had, I would give anything a shot. So it would be nice to know more about the treatment and the fact that it wasn't painful, and actually it's a nice experience. As well, with the immunotherapy, I had a few questions this time because I'm due to start that on my next cycle. I've finished my chemotherapy now, so I'll start the immunotherapy soon, within the next few weeks. So I just had a few questions this time around the fact that, how will it affect my immunity in a good way or a bad way? And thankfully, it sounds like it's positive. And just because I've been taking chemotherapy for 6 months, I've just wanted to understand the differences really and what I could and couldn't do. I'm looking forward to having a few months of being normal and mingling with people, and we really enjoy going to see live music and or watching shows, and I've always been a bit worried about that with being in a large group of people, but I'm really looking forward to some normality again and being able to do that.